we need to have a few facts, to get a few facts right. The first one is whether there is going to be a bill, a constitutional bill, amendment bill. And if that bill is there, what does it say? Now, I'm saying this because the Minister of Justice, in one of the interviews, implied that they could change the constitution using parliament, the way they did in the Malaba case. Now, that is very wrong. You cannot amend the constitution without going to referendum. This is because if you go to the constitution, the areas that talk about term limits are two areas. The first one is section 90 to section 95. Section 90 says the president must preserve the constitution. Section 91 says no one must serve more than 2 terms. And section 95 says a term shall be 5 years, co-terminus with the term of parliament, meaning they have to go together. The constitution doesn't end there. So Ministers Yambi and Kambane are saying, if we change in 95 to say a term is now 7 years, President Mnangagwa would still have served only 2 terms, one for 5 years and one for 7 years, to make them 2. That's their reasoning. But their reasoning would be sensible if the constitution ended there. But the constitution doesn't end there. In section 328 of the constitution, we start by defining what a term limit clause is. And we say a term limit clause is a clause that lengthens the period of time that a person is holding office. So if you are changing from 5 years to 7 years, you are lengthening the period of time. And the same section goes on to say, if you are amending the Bill of Rights, you have to go to referendum. It then goes on to say that if you are amending the term limit clause, you amend it as if it was in the Bill of Rights, i.e. via referendum. And it then goes on to say that even if the people vote yes in the referendum, the extension shall not benefit the incumbent. That is section 328 subsection 7. And then it says in that section that if you want to amend me, if you want to amend that section, you amend me as if I am in the Bill of Rights, i.e. via referendum. So in this particular case, and we are anxious to see the bill, there must be provision for 2 referendums. One referendum with a simple referendum question: should we extend the term of president from 5 years to 7 years? Yes, no. Because when you are voting yes or no in the referendum, you are answering a question. You are saying no to something or yes to something. So there should be a referendum question. And the referendum question is, should we extend or not? So if the people vote yes, then there is another headroom. There needs to be another referendum on whether the incumbent, in this case President Mnangagwa, must benefit. So there is the second referendum question: should Emmerson Mnangagwa benefit or not? Yes or no? So there will be 2 referendums, and these 2 referendums cannot be within 6 months of each other in terms of the constitution, to allow a cooling off period. That was our thinking as the drafters. So a lot depends on what the bill is going to say. If it provides for that, then we will wait to wage our fight within the electorate. The electorate have to decide. The people of Zimbabwe have to decide whether they want an extension of term or not.
It will not be late for you to act when they act. How are you going to defend it?
Well, first of all, what is important is we need to know what we are acting against. So we must see the bill. If the bill comes, we need to see it. And when we see the bill, we see whether it accords with the Constitution. Because the Constitution doesn't prevent amendments. It says amendments must be done in a particular way. Now, in the Constitution, we have a concept that we introduced, which is called the sovereignty of the people. it is the right of the people of Zimbabwe to decide whether they give a president an extension or not, and whether they particularly give this president an extension. It's up to the people of Zimbabwe. We will be at war in the figurative sense with the government or with whoever if the sovereignty of the people, the right of the people to decide is compromised. We will not accept that. But if they say we are asking for amendments, can the people of Zimbabwe decide? Then the battlefield will be the people of Zimbabwe. And that's all we want, that people of Zimbabwe must decide. But there is one thing that some people within ZANU-PF who are advocating for this have not looked at. For example, what if people vote yes in the first referendum and vote no in the second referendum? What then that means is that you have extended the term limit for someone else, for the successor, whoever it is going to be. So, as the MDC, on the facts that we have, we are against the extension of the term of the president. We think the president must serve his 2 terms and someone else takes over.
But we have seen that some of your former colleagues, they are saying that 2030 agenda is just a sideshow, or there is no constitution to talk about.
Well, that is specifically what Chamisa said, and I don't know what he was trying to say. Advocate Chamisa was the organizing secretary of the MDC during the constitution making process, and he did second people to go to Kopak to do the outreach. In fact, I came to him to get the names of people to constitute the outreach teams. And after that, he was a member of the cabinet that approved the constitutional bill that then came to parliament. And after that, myself, himself, and other people campaigned for a yes vote. What was he campaigning for? What was he saying yes to? What was he urging people to say yes to? And apparently there is a very famous quotation by Nelson Chamisa during the constitution making process, and I want to quote him verbatim. And he says, ZANU-PF dribbled us during the outreach. We have now dribbled past them during drafting. End of quote. What was he dribbling? What dribbling was he talking about? So sometimes politicians get carried away. When they dislike someone or something, they dislike everything that that person is associated with. There is a constitution, Advocate Chamisa, to defend, and the constitution is under threat. So maybe the question is, if you say there's no constitution to defend, that means therefore that you are for 2030. If Advocate Chamisa is for 2030, it is his democratic right. We are against 2030. The people of Zimbabwe are against 2030. And when we are faced with this constitution moment as a country, it is not an opportunity to chain hate language against one another, to engage in cheap propaganda, to downgrade, to degrade other people. That's not the opportunity. That's not what we should be like. In fact, I have liberty to say it to him because he's a fellow lawyer like me. There is what we call courtesy at law. Even if you differ with the other lawyer, when you are having a bitter argument in court, you still address them in a courteous way. So even if you differ politically with any other person, you don't describe them as vomit. You don't use degrading terms against one another. It's out of fashion. It's anachronistic. But anyway, coming to the substance, it's up to him if he wants to support 2030. After all, they supported delimitation. If they want to carry on and support ZANU-PF again in 2030, it's up to them. But we are against 2030. At least the National Council of the MDC has said it is against 2030.